All right, welcome to Conversations with My Little Bro, the podcast where I have conversations with my little bro. So, based on the last podcast, we want to also adjust. The last podcast, we said that we were going to talk about 3 topics per podcast and just keep it at those 3 topics. But what happens is that usually
You're
topics.
saying topics.
3 topics.
Yeah.
I keep it within those 3 topics, but what ended up happening on the last podcast is that we talked about one topic and then we diverted into multiple subjects within that specific subject, and it turned out to be like a 30-minute, 40-minute almost thing. So I think it's okay if we just keep it to one topic per podcast, and then we can make it like a 20-minute thing. With that being said, the topic of this podcast is going to be turning your passion into something profitable. Which, it's a little bit of a...
It's a hard topic.
It's a hard topic because I think that's, if you want to put a meaning to life or a goal to life, it would be that. It's like what your passion is and how do you make money out of it, and not just because you want to achieve a material goal and be rich or anything, but just because I believe, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that what most people would think is that if you can make whatever your passion is into something that can benefit you monetarily, then that'd be an ideal world or an ideal scenario for any person. I'm not saying for everybody, but I'm assuming for the majority of people, I think that would be the ideal. So I don't know if you have any thoughts before I go a little bit into it.
Not really. I mean, talk about it like more in depth.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if you have anything to say, or I can go more in depth.
Making your passion into monetary, and it depends on the person. I think sometimes it's different passions.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes maybe you don't want to make your passion monetarily because it might ruin your passion. Like I know that some people sometimes like love doing something until it's their job, and then it's like they hate it because then they have to depend on it. So, like, it's complicated.
So I had the idea from, let's say, so, and I always go into this topic of conversation because it's been like a thing for me lately.
Okay.
I like Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh yeah, you do.
Right? Now let's say that I go into eBay and I look for all the Dungeons and Dragons things, and I start becoming knowledgeable about the subject, and realizing what are the prices that miniatures sell for, and then look for bulk sales that I can buy and then sell them at a higher price.
Okay.
In a way, that would be me making my passion profitable. Although, like, what my passion would be to play Dungeons and Dragons and get paid to do that. That would be the best way. But a good segue into that could be doing something like that, getting something that I really like, learning more about it because it's in the market, and learning how to make money out of what already exists. So I can do it with miniatures, or trying to do that. I mean, now it's easier said than done, but...
I mean, that's more like that's like making monetary thing, like making money out of something related to your passion, right?
Yeah.
Which I mean, I guess that also could be a thing.
Yeah. So there's that. I mean, the other thing that I was thinking is like, let's say on that same thing.
Yeah.
There's in that same subject. I like D&D.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's really difficult for me to find miniatures that I like.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. Like,
well, you can find them, but you have to paint them.
You have to paint them. You have to do all of that job. Yeah. And what I want is already a miniature that's already made for me to play the game.
Yeah.
And there's websites that sell them, but it's a website that like kinda buys them in bulk and then resells them at you. So like they're out of stock on many miniatures very often.
Right.
If I want to buy from a specific collection, it's completely out of stock.
Yeah.
So there's no website that actually, and I'm assuming this is because of Wizards. Is Wizards the
company? I'm guessing
Wizards
just does like
Wizards just allows
to everything.
Yeah, just gives the license or the rights to sell the miniatures to certain companies, and that's the only thing they can do.
Yeah.
Right. So it is very difficult for anybody to make a...
Yeah, so I guess you could make some money out of reselling miniatures that way, because it's a market that like people are always interested in.
Yeah.
It's always limited stock. It's like a pain.
Yeah. So the idea would be, let's say that I think about it monetarily wise.
Right.
I can make my own designs.
Ah. Well, it depends.
And have them massively printed.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to paint them.
Your favorite?
Massively.
That's hard.
And then have people buy it. That's really hard. But I think that would be the business that I would want to do. Because...
Why wouldn't you want to do like what's his name? Mercer does? Like just podcast you playing the game. Or like record yourself playing the game.
I mean, no, we can also do that. But I'm trying to also solve a thing that I have an issue with. If I want to buy miniatures...
You're solving a problem that you have.
Yeah, that I have in something that I love.
So, okay. I see.
So the issue that I have is that there's no specific place for me to go and buy a miniature. Or there is, but not like, let's say if I want to buy 20 goblins, I have to look for a website and order little goblins, and they all arrive if they're on stock. Some of the websites that I've seen, like they only have 4 or 6 goblins on stock.
Damn, that's pretty harsh.
And like, for example, we're running a campaign with giants.
Yeah. You want the giants.
And the giants are all of them are out of stock. All of them. And the only one that exists is like the whole collection that we had talked about, where it sells all of them.
Oh, yeah.
But they are not repeated. There's you want one giant of each. And let's say that I need 5 giants. It's like, well, I just need, I don't know, hill giants. I need 5 hill giants. I can't have it. Because I cannot buy 5 hill giants.
Yeah.
I have to buy 1 of each, and I have to make do with what I have.
Yeah, I think there are some miniatures, but they're not painted. Like, they're like those plastic ones. And you can just get a bunch of those, you know. And like, I don't know.
Paint them?
Not paint them. If you don't want to, you could just use them like that.
Yeah, but it's not fun.
Yeah, it's not fun. You want the like nice detailed ones.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Maybe this is. I mean, to me, I'm talking specifically about Dungeons and Dragons because it's my passion, and I'm trying to make an example out of it. I'm thinking about how can I make my passion profitable.
Right.
Right now, for me, it would be to solve issues that I have within that passion. I wish it would be like Magic the Gathering.
Right.
Because there's specific websites in Magic the Gathering where you can buy cards. And they are set at a market standard. If the market goes down or if it goes up, the price of the card goes down or goes up on that website.
Right.
And that website actually charges a little bit higher than actual market standard. But the reason they charge and they are allowed to charge higher is because there's only one site where you can buy on any card that you want. Like, so, and it's available.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Because they've already collected all of them. and their job is to keep them on stock. So they charge like a premium fee for you to buy their cards. That's what the miniature website does.
But they're never in stock.
They're never in stock.
That's frustrating. Yeah, I guess but I don't know. It sounds hard because if those websites can't do it.
Yeah, the only way that I could do it is if I make my own.
Yeah, and I think you can only make your own for some of them. Like Goblins, for example, like don't have like a copyright or anything.
Yeah, I mean, goblin. Anybody can make a miniature of a goblin.
But like you can make a miniature of a dragon. But like the moment you say like this is Tiamat,
a black dragon, or it's like now I'm profiting off of their stuff.
I have to be careful. So
yeah,
so it's a pain. Like I remember I had a similar idea. I was like when I was playing Splatoon a lot. Mm-hmm. I always went to YouTube looking for Splatoon content.
Yeah.
See how to learn the game, how to get better. And a lot of the channels suck. Some of them are okay. Some of them are decent. Some of them go too in depth and they're kind of boring. So I was thinking like, I could do this myself. I can learn Splatoon and teach it better than these people can do it. But then there's a problem, which is that Nintendo's one of the few companies that on YouTube, if you make a video about their games, they demonetize your video. And they take the profit.
Yeah.
Completely. Like, no other video game company does that. But Nintendo does that. Like, all I play is Nintendo games. Like, fuck that. Like, I can make the content and it'll be nice content, but I'm not gonna make any money out of it. It's not worth it. So it's also like, you gotta be careful when you're doing something that you're passionate with, especially if it's like what you're passionate about has to do with like somebody else's copyright, you know?
Yep.
Like if you're passionate about Star Wars, like can't go ahead and make your own Star Wars movie. You don't have the copyright.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's a little bit tricky to make your passion into like something profitable. The other thing that I was thinking is like, for example, and another issue that I have is aqua. Mm-hmm. I need a harness for aqua.
Yeah. We've been having trouble with that.
Right? What if I just make my own harness?
Good. You can sell them like Etsy or something.
Mm-hmm. And I massively produce it from China, send it over to Amazon, and Amazon ships it.
You could do that. But like, I don't know how you could design it and then have it made in China. It's a little complicated because of the whole.
Mm-hmm. But that's what I want to do with the miniatures.
Yeah, I still think that's even more complicated.
Yeah, because at the end, on the miniatures, I need them to paint them.
Yeah. This reminds me, when like back in the day when you used to buy board games, they would come with all the miniatures like in the plastic where they were printed from, and that was considered cool. Like, oh, you can pop them out yourself. Like, if you do that, it's like, what the fuck? It's like they didn't finish the job.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think we're just getting used to, like...
quality.
Yeah, like a certain level of comfort on certain things.
Yeah.
And we want it to be like that. I mean, it doesn't have to start like that, but that was
sometimes the product gets worse over time. Like Hot Wheels used to be made with like metal. The car used to be like nice and chunky and like heavy. They were like nice. Mm-hmm. But then they started making them with plastic. And yeah, with plastic you get some like cool colors because it's easier to have plastic like shine and do different things. But now the cars have no weight to them and they break so easily and like, yeah, it's not as interesting anymore. They don't have any momentum when you like throw them on one of those things.
Yeah. Put this light. Right. So that's the thing. I'm thinking about like how can you overall on the discussions, like how can you make your passion profitable? It could be like through finding an issue within it and then you can try to solve it. I know we just talked about the specific ones that relates to us.
Yeah.
But I think, but we haven't really touched the subject as to how you're supposed to do it. I also don't think we have done it.
No,
yeah. So we're in that process of figuring it out.
Well, I mean, we're trying something right now. You know, it's like we always have these really nice conversations that we're always like, oh man, we had a good conversation. Like, there was some good stuff in there, and then like we're like, why don't we just try to make this into like a podcast?
Yeah.
And like, you know, who knows? Like, I mean, right now it's nothing, but in like a year, 2 years, who knows? Maybe it'll be like a thing, and maybe we'll get a sponsor and.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I think like the way, when it comes to that, like let's say, making this profitable, which is something that we like doing just for funsies.
Yeah.
It's like maybe eventually, let's say that keep up with like actual news or like current events, and us have a conversation about that. Right? Now, it has to be events that we like. For example, I don't want to talk about Donald Trump or it's boring. I don't want to talk about politics. I don't want to talk about controversial subjects or anything like that. It'd be like, I don't know, like news about, you know, like let's say the airlines and like companies. For example, the Chipotle video.
Oh my
that like social media now affects companies really strong, like things like that.
Yeah, I think that could be like a segment.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do like a full podcast on that.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. And then I also like the one. This is something that we can do. Is like the guys that listen to hip hop and they listen to metal.
Oh god, I don't like React channels. Ugh.
React channels. Yeah, because that's all they do at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean it's sometimes the React channels are like good if you're like showing something to somebody who would definitely be impacted in some way by what they're watching. If it's just us like sitting here like watching a David Dobrik vlog, it's like let's react to the new David Dobrik vlog. And it's just like every few minutes like we're just laughing. It's like what's the point of that? What does that have to do with anything? You know, why? But like let's say it was like I don't know, let's say Donald Trump decided I'm gonna deport all Colombians and like now we react and like there's a video of him saying it. It's like then we can react to the video, we look at it and we can like be angry and then we'll be like, can you believe this fucking guy, and like have some actual commentary on it, then that's fine. Like then it's like then it becomes like H3, you know, like React world.
Yeah. And then like also what I was thinking is like eventually just bring other people.
Yeah, I mean
keep talking about the same thing that we talk about.
That bring other perspectives in.
Yeah, and then have other people in the podcast, and then it's like, what do you think? Give us an example of your life and whatever. And it's all a conversation amongst everybody. I don't like, you know, the podcasts that I don't like, the ones that are interviews.
Like Joe Rogan?
Yeah, is that his name?
Yeah. The old guy, right?
Yeah.
But I like that guy.
No, I mean, I like his podcast is particularly good because he knows what questions to ask, and he brings really nice people. But it's so easy. You just ask questions.
I mean, this is pretty easy. We just talk.
Yeah, but it's harder to provide value by you talking about your own topics of conversation. Then it's easier to, I don't know, let's say that.
Well, the cool thing about...
Let's say that I want to have one of your friends' audience, and I want to grow it.
Okay.
So, let's say we use one of your friends.
Okay.
And we invite them.
Yeah.
And then we start asking the question, what about this in your life? What about this? What if you were this? What if like this, and this? What if this other thing? What if this other thing?
Right.
And then we put the podcast out, and then we send your friend that link. your friend is gonna send it to all of their friends, and then we get their audience. That's easy, because we're only talking about your friend. Has nothing to do with us.
Sure.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't like the interview podcast because they're easy. You just bring in people and you ask them questions.
True, but like the good thing about those, at least Joe Rogan, well, the good thing about those interview podcasts is that you get interviews with people who are important.
Yeah.
So that the show is not really about the interviewer; it's about the person that gets interviewed.
Exactly. I don't want it to be about the person that I'm interviewing. I want it to be about us.
All right, yeah, that's fine, but I wouldn't call that easy per se, because like, you know, you don't just.
I'm just saying. Anybody can ask questions.
Okay.
Yeah. Not all of them can be good questions, or like
right.
Not all, or not the way that you organize the questions are the best.
Yeah.
Like it takes a skill to do that. Like that's what I'm saying. Joe Rogan is a good one. I also think the guy from Hot Wings,
Sean Evans.
Yeah, I think he's also good at it.
Oh yeah.
And he only gets 10
really
questions.
Good, actually.
Yeah. And they do some research. Like there's talent on that. Like you need a certain amount of research and talent and know which questions to ask, that like you can extract a lot of juice out of the people that you're asking questions to.
Yeah, I concur.
But for the most part, you can just ask questions, and I mean, if you're really good, then you'll be one of the best ones. But like, I believe that that's something almost anybody's doing now.
I think that's true. I think the best podcasts that have come out recently, like for example, one of my favorite podcasts, which is Couples Therapy with Casey Neistat and his wife Candice, is great because it's just them two, and all they do is they talk about their marriage, their life, how that they're having a kid, and it's just like you're interested in them. You just want to hear from them. You want to hear what they're doing, what their lives is like, what they think about raising a kid, a couple, like, because you're interested in them, right? Same thing with like David Dobrik's podcast where he talks with Jason, and they're hilarious. So like the value is not really like they're gonna teach you anything new about life. You just laugh and you enjoy it because it's like a entertaining thing to listen to. And they're not interviewed at all. Yeah,
I don't know what ours gives to people. This is just us talking, and like the thing is that I don't think anybody really cares about what we have to say or what we.
Yeah, that's the problem with podcasts, is that like it's hard to have a good podcast when like you haven't done anything.
Yeah, like I think we're pretty much nobodies except for like our closest friends.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna. I don't even think they're gonna listen to it because it's 30 minutes us talking about nothing, about what we like.
Well, I mean,
I think the only person that will listen to it is Pipe.
Yeah, people would listen to it. Well, I think one of the cool things about doing this though is that if we, at some point when we do something, then like let's say as I'm working on a book, let's say I publish a book, I don't know, and it goes New York Times bestseller, and then let's say you blow up on Instagram, right? Then all of a sudden we have all this content that people could just, now that they're interested in us for outside reasons, they can just come here and they're like, oh shit, they have a podcast, and they can just
get from that. Yeah,
just get from there.
Yeah, I think the main thing, I'm not expecting people to watch the podcast.
Actually, not anytime soon.
No, and it's also and I also wouldn't want them to, because I think it's kind of boring. I think it's kind of long. But from this podcasts, I want to get like
little nuggets,
like
that's what you
1 minute of information that I can put somewhere else.
Yeah, which by the way I've been doing the research on that.
Yeah, so
when I use Adobe Spark, edit the videos together.
Yeah, it's getting 1 minute of information, putting it out there, and it's just coming from this. It's just us having a conversation. And then once we hit a point, and that's the thing about me specifically, that I don't know what the nugget of information is.
Oh, I'm better at that.
Until it occurs. Like we're talking and then...
Oh, you mean like when we're talking, not like when you're listening to it.
Yeah. So we're talking, and at some point it hits me, and I'm like, that's it, and then I go into it, and then like I only get it, and I only learn when I'm speaking, when I'm talking, when I'm communicating.
Which is part of the reason you wanted to do this.
Yeah. So, so it's just grab like little sound bites and putting them out there, and then people see it, cool. And if they don't, I don't mind.
Are you gonna put it on your Insta?
Yeah, I just put it on Insta, and then it's like, and then we can even put this one, how to find little nuggets of information, and then just like, this is how I find them, and then just put it out there.
It's kind of cool.
And then that's it. And then I don't need people to watch it, but it's for me. And then like, it's like what I've been doing. It's just document.
Yeah.
Document what I'm doing.
That's what Gary Vee says to do.
Right? How to find nuggets of information. I know. Talk. That's how I do it.
That is how you do it.
I cannot find nuggets of information by just having them in my head. Sometimes I'm thinking, and then I'm like, oh, I'm into something. And then I'll start talking, and then while I'm talking, I realize either it's a good idea or a bad one. Because when I talk, I start to putting it into practice, and I start making everything, and then I realize, oh, I'm miscalculated here. Right? So if anything, I think right now, whatever we just talked about, that should be a thing.
That should be a thing? Alright. See us on Instagram.
So yeah, I think we can stop it there. It still was 30 minutes. 25?
26, 25.
27 minutes.
Yeah.
So we still gotta work on getting it shorter than that. But anyway, that was Conversations with my little bro, where I have conversations with my little bro.